What question must be asked on a job interview for L&D specialists?
First of all, I'm a fan of competency-based interviews, so I would definitely ask to describe a situation that happened in a candidate's life in their own experience, and I would ask them maybe to describe the recent skill that they've acquired themselves. So for me, it's very important that L&D specialist is learning herself constantly, like a lifelong, life-wide learning, continuous learning, and examples of something new that they've learned quite fast or learned to do quite fast in their job with all other responsibilities, finding resources to invest in their own development.
Yeah. Give me an example on how you use data to improve a learning program, because data is very important. We cannot only enhance our programs only on our opinion. So we need data to help us do that. So
I think, why are you interested in being an educator? It's one of those fields where I think I need the money to pay rent is rarely an indicator of not to say that there is no passion if that's the answer. So I think if you're searching for someone that has a passion for it, you need to ask why are they doing that and see what's the answer. And I'm saying that not because I would have anything against someone that does it just as a job rather than as a passion. I'm just saying it because as a student rather than as a trainer, I know that a lot of teachers and professors had a great inspiration in me, and some of them pulled me away from some topics I loved, and some of them pushed me towards topics to discover. And the difference between one and the other was the passion that they had. So if I see the passion in their eyes when they deliver the thing, in how they make us experience it, then it makes a difference. So if you want to be an educator, especially for young people, I think passion has to be a big drive. So why are you here? And then depending on the answer, see if there is some passion in those eyes.
In my case, it's always about their design process, how they approach a problem given to them. So if there's like a talents or skill test, so what is their thought process like? What are the decisions that they made and why they went a certain way instead of the other? I'm not really particular on like proving to me that you can code or that you can use this tool. I'm interested in how you are approaching the problem or the design problem.
Would not agree more with that question because I had it in my mind also. It's more about overcoming challenges that you had during your career or during your professional life. And the answer that I'm seeking is not how spectacular overcoming was. It's just how you accepted these challenges and how fast you could adapt to it and adapt your working process to that.
Well, this is a really good one, and I had to think about this one a lot. And the question I came up with was, how would you approach measuring the impact and ROI of a learning program? And I think that touches on a lot of really important aspects. I mean, the ultimate goal is not just learning, but it's applying that for the business impact. It also, I think, kind of touches on, are you identifying the correct and relevant issues to address what the business needs or what the organization needs? And it also sort of goes to sort of secondarily, like, not everything has to be training. There could be other interventions that might be involved. And it's important to know when training is not going to work. So I think that's a pretty good question. It's sort of potentially touching on a lot of different important areas.
I ask actually the question that you just asked about what's one of your biggest failures. But I ask that in part to get at, like, what I really want to understand is what they know and believe about learning. And so often I'll ask, like, what do you think is the biggest barrier to students learning better? And so which gets at that kind of pedagogical approach without necessarily being too academic about it. So like what Unekwu just talked about sort of like getting this insight that if you change something from an abstract math problem to something concrete that students can relate to, that actually changes the way that they think and their engagement and their ability to solve problems, which I think is an important insight that's interesting to understand, how crucial that is to your pedagogy or how you think about constructing educational experiences.
Sort of similar. It's pretty much like, how do you use data and analytics to inform the design and improvement of learning products? It's pretty much they're just trying to get at, how you actually understand like user pain points, how you're able to incorporate either qualitative, quantitative, insights or data to make the decisions to build a product, and then also how you're able to evaluate impact of the product on learning outcomes. I think it's sort sort of like that robust way of thinking about improving student outcomes? I think that's the essence of the question.
I think the nice question would be, how do you support your level of knowledge and how do you develop? Because in this area, this is important to be in the trend, because as practice proves, your client can always know more than you do. So you need to be in touch with the trends.
The question that I would be emphasizing more would be that obviously, like everyone, whatever I've heard over the years, that people love to jump on towards the execution parts. And when we do the need analysis, obviously everyone has a long list of which skill set that everyone wants to learn. So my question from that person would be, how would you be aligning the skill set in coordination with the organizational objectives? Like there is a skill set that is required by the organization, and there is a list of skill set that any particular resource wants to learn for their own wishes. So there needs to be a coordination between these two. And more importantly, I would be evaluating that person on the leadership skills as well, because I have become a huge fan of leadership skills. For whosoever wants to jump into this, he needs to learn, he needs to study the leadership skills a lot more deeper into the details. So these would be the two areas that I would mark them as fundamentals that need to be clear in any of the resources who plan to jump into this domain.
I think very simply, why L&D? Essentially asking about what motivates them. Because end of the day, what you want to really suss out in the interview is that, are they passionate? And are they passionate about the end outcome? Because as long as you are excited about the end goal, the challenges along the way don't matter. And to just give you an example, as a marketer, I was always excited about finally seeing my product on shelf, something that I'd spent months and months on designing, researching, working with cross-functional teams. Finally seeing it on shelf made it all worth it. And similarly in L&D, it's all about actually upskilling others, and through that, ensuring that the business meets its goals. And that's a lot harder to get excited about compared to seeing something you have designed on shelf, because it's so intangible and not easy to quantify. So therefore, understanding why L&D and what motivates them, I think would be a key question, at least for me, if I'm interviewing someone.